Hey guys. Okay, so in today's video, we're going to round out our little mini 3-part video series. Just to recap really quickly, what I was saying was that I was once told only 1 in 3 approvals ever makes it through to the construction stage, so it ever sees the light of day. And we've been looking at how town planning contributes to that problem. So the sort of town planning hurdles that cause people to fall and fumble along the way. First and foremost, the point I was making in video number 1 was that people fail to appreciate that each and every single site across the city is totally unique in terms of the combination of zones, overlays, neighbourhood plans, etc., which apply, and therefore the rules and requirements that they need to adhere to. So people often fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I worked on a property next door, or I worked on a property around the corner. I know what I'm going to have to do here. You can't. You have to ask questions up front. Point number 2 I made was that people fail to appreciate that the rules often change and evolve over time. I mean, if we look at the planning scheme alone, that has changed 22 times since it first came into effect. And I think 4 of those evolutions have occurred in the last year alone. And that's just the black and white rules. You need to also consider that the grey areas within those rules are also constantly evolving and changing. Now we come to point number 3. What is point number 3? Well, people often fail to understand or appreciate the nuances in the rules, and the fact more specifically that those nuances can totally change whether you're looking at avoiding a DA, triggering a straightforward sort of standard DA, or going a full-on hardcore DA. So what I want to do is take you behind the computer and show you one example in particular to try and reinforce or explain this point. Let's do this. Okay, so this here is the example that I want to use today. Now, for the purpose of this exercise, I want you to totally ignore what's happening at the front of the site. And I only want you to focus on the stairs, which are located just down here. Now, for your own information, this property is a small lot, so it's a lot less than 450 square meters in area. Now, when I first looked at these plans, I went, okay, we're doing building work within 1 meter of the side boundary, boom, DA trigger. We're talking a full-on application here. And then I looked at it a bit further and I went, you know what? We're actually replacing a set of stairs in that similar sort of location. If we can argue that it's same before and after in terms of amenity impacts to the neighbours, maybe council will approve it under an exemption certificate. So suddenly we go from like $5,000 in application fees once you account for council, private planners, etc., and extra plans and all of that sort of stuff, maybe 3 months in council. We step it down to maybe $1,000 in fees all up, and maybe a month in council. Sounds better, right? Well, then I looked at it again, I went, you know what? I reckon if we can argue that we are repairing the existing stairs rather than replacing the stairs, so if we can incorporate some original sort of components somehow, even if just tokenistically, maybe we can argue it's exempt. Boom, suddenly we drop down to $0 and 0 time in council. So one extreme, 5 or 6 grand, right down to 0, and one extreme, 3 months in council, possibly even longer as we get closer to Christmas, right down to 0 time in council. So as you can see, it often takes little minor tweaks to the way things are shown, drawn, or built, constructed, to totally change the pathway that you go down. And all too often we see people just go down the pathway they've always done, assuming it's going to be the same, and they get a nasty surprise when they find out it's not. So in this scenario, you might have had a situation previously where it was exempt, and people go, great, happy days, charge ahead, and all of a sudden they find, oh no, this one actually goes up to that full-blown application. And unfortunately, you can't always make those little tweaks to bring it back down to where you were hoping to go. So, point is, like with the previous videos, always ask questions up front. Don't just blindly charge ahead and assume it's going to be the same. And then always, if you get told you're going to need a DA, ask the question, can we make some tweaks or minor changes to this to try and change the process or the pathway that we go down? Not always. No, you can't always change the pathway you go down, but quite often the answer will be yes. Sometimes you'll sit there and weigh it up and go, oh, actually, I'm not prepared to make that compromise. In the scheme of things, that extra $5,000 or whatever it's going to cost in application fees, it's worth it in this instance. I mean, especially when you're doing like $1 million renovation. But sometimes you sit there and go, you know what? That is such a minor change. It's going to have absolutely no impact on me, and you're happy to go down that path. So that covers off everything I wanted to talk about today. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site-specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number 2, Brisbane town planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3. What was my number 3? Oh yeah. The views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.